It's autumn, and the Canada geese are migrating south, and so am I. The fall color is stunning, and I've been following it south too, the whole way from the Yukon. In part 1 of British Columbia from the top down, we started at the Yukon border traveling southward. We had a look at the rustic settlement of Atlan, BC, saw bears, bison, moose, and a stoat, and saw hills and mountains covered in glorious fall colors. I soaked in Liard Hot Springs, did an impression of Dr. Anthony Fauci.
I got a bit of jab to Muhammad Ali.
And met a man walking more than 10,000 miles.
From Alaska to Argentina.
Join me as I continue down to the very bottom of BC.
Off season and nobody around. Looks like it's a cultural site. Overlooking this river. This looks like an interesting structure. Let's go inside and have a look around. Inside this building. Nice woodwork there. Wow, this is kind of cool. So, I'm not sure if this was a ceremonial area or what. Like a kiva, perhaps? Some sort of a shelter here. Duck down and have a look in there. Looks like the makings of the start of a wiki-up type shelter or maybe a sweat lodge. Lake Lahash has the most unique thrift store I may have ever seen. That's my new buddy. He slept outside of my car all night. Hey, bud. Coming into Clinton. I love this town, I really do. It's my favorite town. They named it after me, you know. Oh yeah, they did. Hey, where's all the pretty women? Where are you? Landscape becomes drier and more similar to a desert. Heading east towards Savona and Kamloops. Forest roads in BC are often good places to camp, like this one, and it has a little bit of a view out there. Kind of reminds me of BLM land in the States. It's free to camp. Down below is the road that goes to Kamloops, to the east. On the way to Savona is what looks to be a fake ghost town. How do I know it's fake? Well, ghost towns never had plywood, for one thing. It says 1885 up there, and plywood wasn't invented, as well as a lot of other reasons. But if you want to pay to see a fake ghost town, it might be fun. Kamloops Lake, rainbow at the end of it all. Savona, my Savona. See it before it's all gone, because it's all just becoming a big golf course subdivision just back there, because it's by the lake. Tonight's stay is near the Duffy Recreation Area. Coming into downtown Kamloops. Kamloops is situated at the confluence of the North and South Thompson Rivers. Looks like this is the big city for this region. A lot of growth here. And as with big cities, you have things like art galleries and theater and other amenities. Originally a railroad town incorporated in 1893, it has grown to about 120,000 residents in the region. These days, the city is known for hosting numerous tournaments and events. Logging, cattle, vegetable farming, transportation, viticulture, healthcare, tourism, and education all contribute to the regional economy. Leaving Kamloops. This little place is called Falkland. The Okanagan Valley is known for its fruit growing. Coming in toward Vernon. Here's a real quick look at Vernon. Just passing through. The Okanagan Valley is much more populated and quite sprawly, probably because it gets much more sunshine than some other places in BC, and we're in the southern portion of BC where generally the population is more dense. The Okanagan is kind of like the Southern California of southern BC. You got sunshine, traffic, sprawl, a lot of people, and an endless string of development and houses and ongoing development for the past 30 to 50 miles or so. Kelowna sits beside Okanagan Lake in the Okanagan Valley. The name is derived from the Okanagan people's name for a grizzly bear. With about 250,000 residents, it's the third largest metro area in the province. Known for abundant summer sunshine and a milder climate than most places in Canada, it's popular with tourists. Just like Kamloops, this place is growing too, quite a bit. Big skyscraper going on back in the distance there. Heading out of Kelowna, it took quite a while to get through there. A lot of stoplights and traffic. Spoke too soon. We're not out of Kelowna. We're just getting into West Kelowna. Yeah, this town just keeps going and going and going. Like I said, Southern California. Endless new subdivisions, sprawl, all that stuff. There's also vineyards and fruit orchards in abundance, as well as cattle ranching. I think I may have taken a wrong turn. If so, it wouldn't surprise me. I am incredibly tired because for the past several nights, maybe even a week, I've had this endless thing where the mice find a way inside my car every night and they're scampering around. And last night, I actually shined the flashlight right on him and saw him, grabbed him by the tail, and he had wedged himself inside like the door kind of thing, and he was incredibly strong. His adrenaline must have kicked in. I just tried to hold him and he wedged himself so tightly he was not coming out. But you would have thought, doing that to him, he would have got the message like, get out. I saw him outside the car, so I jumped inside, started up the car, and I actually moved the car away from him about 100 yards, but he managed to find me again. To a mouse, I must seem as large as a Tyrannosaurus Rex. And if a Tyrannosaurus had me by the back of my shirt, I would get the hint and get the heck out of that area. I wouldn't think, hey, I'll go back to the place where the Rex is. These mice have been driving me insane, scurrying around through the car, making a bunch of noise, looking for food, running over the top of my blanket sometimes while I'm trying to sleep, and running behind my head and everything. He was in the car for a few days, I think. 7 hours later, there's another one getting in the car to replace him. There's just a lot of mice here in British Columbia, I guess. I overheard someone saying that they have a friend who has mice in their brand new house. So for some reason, there's a lot of mice down in BC. I got mesmerized by the traffic and the stoplights, and I just kept going when I should have turned. Well, I get to see Kelowna twice. Sprawl, sprawl, sprawl. Subdivision sprawl. After many days of a little mouse hiding in my dash in the daytime and coming out at night and scurrying all around the car and keeping me awake and being very annoying, I finally caught him in my makeshift catch him alive bin. So he's inside here. We're gonna let him go. Get rid of him. They can really jump. Since this mouse has managed to find his way back when I drove the car 100 yards away from him, I've walked him about a third of a mile away, so there's very little chance he'll find his way back. Okay, time for you to leave, mouse. Get out. Hit the road, Jack. Come on, you're free. You go now. Bye-bye. Hit the road, Jack, and don't you come back no more, you hear? Heading south. I've been following falls for several weeks. Arlington Lakes is off the 33 highway. Arlington Lakes with big white ski area way in the background up on the mountain. Here at the Arlington Lakes campground, I was just walking along the lake having a look, and then a little kid about 3 years old ran up to me and gave me this. And I looked at the mom, and she nodded like, yeah, go ahead, take it. So I did, and you know, it's kind of cool. I've experienced a lot of random acts of kindness up here in Canada. I just needed a quick and simple pair of headphones. I knew they'd be $1.50 at the Dollar Tree in Canada. I brought in a $2 coin, only to find out that there was a $1 tax on the headphones because they were electronics. And I didn't have enough money, so I said, oh, that's all right, I'll just put it back. As I was walking away to put the item back, they shouted back to me, hey, come back here, sir. So I walked over there, and it turned out that somebody in line behind me decided to pay for the remainder of the headphones. A little headphone fairy, and it was cute. Everybody in line denied that they did that. I've also tried to share kindness as well along the way. When I see somebody hiking or cycling long distance, I'll stop and I'll ask them if they need some water and food and give them some, just to help their journey out. Heading onward toward Greenwood and then Grand Forks. We're passing through the little teeny town of Midway. Museum right there. Probably closed because it's Sunday. But we can have a look. Yeah, it's closed, but have a look at this train station from 1900. There's the reason most people in Canada, probably 60 to 70%, live within 200 miles of the US border. It's just warmer down here. Historic Greenwood. We're here in Greenwood, and it turns out it's a historic copper mining town, going back to the late 1800s. And it was one of the most booming and prosperous towns in the province. Hey, this town's kind of cute, actually. It sort of reminds me of Bisbee, Arizona. I guess it's no surprise that this place reminds me of Bisbee because they're both copper towns. The claim to fame here is the smallest city in Canada. A copper smelter was built in 1901 and the town prospered. There were 3 hotels, a general store, a livery stable, 2 assay offices, a mining broker, an opera house, and a dozen other establishments. But it was short-lived. When copper prices plummeted after World War I, people vacated and the population, once 3,000 in its heyday of 1899, shrunk to only a few hundred.
Look at that old Chevy.
It fits right in a town like this. The toaster place. This place is toast, literally. There must be over 100 toasters in this place. Crapola, I just discovered I have an entire mouse family that moved in my car. So the one I caught, he's got a brother and a sister apparently, and I just caught one of them, but I just saw another one scurry off when I opened the door in the car, so I've got to catch that one tonight as well. Okay, beat it. I've got to go catch your sibling. Now beat it. Get out. Go. Bye-bye. I heard on the radio last night that 2 people were killed by a grizzly bear in Banff National Park, and because of that they had to kill the bear. So things do happen up here on occasion, but it's rare. You've got a far better chance of being hit by lightning than being attacked by a bear.
2 people, a husband and wife, along with their dog, are dead after an encounter with a grizzly bear in Alberta.
It was a GPS indicator that first caught the attention of Parks Canada. An alert came in from Banff National Park, the Red Deer River Valley area Friday evening, indicating a bear attack had taken place. Hampered by weather conditions, response crews were kept from flying to the scene by helicopter, instead traveling by ground overnight. Early Saturday morning, the bodies of 2 people were discovered, as well as an aggressively behaving grizzly bear, which officials say they euthanized for public safety. And today, the attack area is closed again for public safety. A report released earlier this year from sports betting site Sportingpedia found Alberta to have the most attacks by wildlife per capita of any province between 2010 and 2021. Parks Canada disputed the report, though, saying most encounters were minor.
They decided to log right where my campsite is, so I can't get out the road now. They're logging right back there. I walked down the road to find a man sitting in his truck, and he seemed surprised to see me pop out from seemingly out of nowhere. I explained that their felled trees were blocking my way out, so he radioed to the tree feller to come clear the trees from my path. Bah, bah, bah. Heading toward Grand Forks. You might think you have some mighty nice spoons, but this place has Grand Forks. I caught mouse number 3 last night and let him go. So it was pretty quiet after that, but you know, I may have actually at one time had 4 or even 5 mice in this car at the same time, and you know, they're in between the paneling and whatnot. They hide out or get in the dash, and I didn't know that mice could travel in packs. They all look to be about the same age, so I'm thinking it's one family. Either that or This is the Magic Mouse bus, and every time I stopped for the night, another mouse would get on and join the party. Some of the local residents here in Grand Forks. Grand Forks City Hall. Once the site of a large copper smelter operation, the town of Grand Forks, with a population of about 4,500, now relies more on logging, agriculture, rock wool manufacturing, metal fabrication, and tourism. And from what I could see, has created an ambitious mural painting scheme to liven up the aesthetic appeal of the town. There's an interesting contrast in two murals. That's what a pack rat looks like. They can get kind of big. And they sometimes get in your car, start to make a nest, collect stuff. Sweet. Parked for the night right outside of Castlegar, not too far away, next to the Columbia River. Right next to it. The Columbia River in the morning. This is Castlegar. Might be the last town or near the last town that I see in Canada for a while. Nice backdrop of mountains here. Castlegar is a town of about 8,500 people in the West Kootenay region in the Selkirk Mountains at the confluence of the Kootenay and Columbia Rivers. It's a regional trade and transportation center with a local economy based on forestry, mining, and tourism. Originally the land of the Sinikst people, it was later settled by many Doukhobor Russians. It's getting time to return to the United States. And you know, I've come to think of, sadly, the United States of a place that's predicated on endless greed and endless growth. You got a lot of problems there. Crime, drugs, homelessness, it just seems to never end. The list goes on. Noisy, polluted. Maybe you could take an example from Canada. It seems to be tidier and prettier, the towns are more compact, and there's parklands and open space far more accessible. Like right now, I'm just outside of Castlegar, just maybe a kilometer or two, and I'm in basically the woods. So hey America, you claim to be the richest country in the world. Why not use some of that money to improve your country? Make it maybe a little bit more like Canada. And there's a nice degree of kindness and courtesy in the people here. There seem to be more parks within the towns, and the open space seems to be more accessible just right outside the towns. By the way, Canada almost makes the top 10 list of happiest countries, whereas the United States barely makes the top 20, usually coming in at about 19 or 20 in happiness. In America, there seems to be little thought given to how the decisions of the few will affect the many, and how those decisions may adversely impact the quality of life in a community 10 or 20 years down the road. People think that a little more money is going to make them happier and their life is going to be better, and there may be something to that. However, money may buy comfort, but it doesn't really buy happiness. That's true. It doesn't. It seems that the rich just keep getting richer while the poor just stay where they are. And every time they think they're going to get ahead, there's inflation or economic downturn or something happens and they don't. The middle class in the United States has been gradually vanishing. Get it together, America. Make it a better place.
And don't be sluggish about it.
Just outside Castlegar, crossing a river. Some nice cliffs in the background there. I camped down there, heading up a steep mountainside up toward the top of Kootenai Pass. And then once up there, it'll eventually take us down into Creston. Kootenai Pass is over a mile high. Coming over the top of the pass now, heading on down. That's a nice mountain backdrop to have for a town. This is the town of Creston, and this is the last town I'll be seeing in Canada for a while. It's time to head on down south even more, into the States.
Originally a forestry and farming-based community, Creston has expanded its horizons to embrace microbreweries and tourism-oriented activities.
Here's a look at downtown Creston. Lots of fruit stands in Creston. Those are some impressive mountains. If there's a way up there, we should go to the top. Those mountains I said made a great backdrop for Creston. Well, we're going to the top of them now. It's a little steep and a little bumpy, but that's to be expected, right? Forest Service Road. Yeah, we're getting up here all right. In case anybody was wondering, yes, they do have snakes in Canada. Now this one's just a harmless garter snake, so nothing to worry about there. I'm just trying to shoo him off the road so he doesn't get run over. Go on, buddy. Go on. Get along. Hurry up. About 9.5 Ks in so far, and I think I can smell antifreeze burning up. This is pretty steep and long. We're heading up to Mount Thompson, and we'll explore Thompson Ridge from there. Supposedly has some awesome views. We're definitely getting up here. We got some snow. Wow, that's pretty awesome so far, and we're not even at the top yet. Very nice. The sunsets over Canada. A nice way to end the Canadian journey. Looks like this is my last night in Canada, so I'll celebrate by having a beer. I wanted to get a Moosehead beer, but the last liquor store I went to, they didn't have any due to some problems with their distributor. Checked another place a few days back, but they had only large cases, so I just wanted one or two. So I guess I have to settle for an American beer and raise a toast to Canada and all the kind people here and all the fun times I've had. Here's to Canada. Hey. U.S. Customs, and that brings us back to the States. I may not have gotten my Moosehead beer, but I did pick up these beers to try out right before I left Canada. I hope you enjoyed heading south down Canada with me on a random sort of mosey. back toward the U.S. Don't forget to give me a like on the video, share, and subscribe. Until next time, this is the Rockhopper. I'll see ya.